أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولك الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأما بعد قال رب تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. We seek refuge in Allah from Satan and the accursed. We begin with the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. We praise and glorify His holy name. We ask that He send the choicest of blessings upon our Prophet Muhammad and salutations upon his purified family and righteous companions and all those who follow their steps until the day of judgment. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Holy Quran, all you who believe, have taqwa, have a consciousness and awareness of who you are and what you are in this world and your relationship with the Creator. It's a consciousness that transforms itself into a realization that we love Allah, something that sometimes is absent from our vocabulary, unfortunately, as Muslims, but is not absent from the vocabulary of the Quran and the language of our beloved Prophet. He himself was known as the beloved of Allah. And it is a hope for Allah's mercy, a mercy which we all need, to cover our mistakes and our sins, to grant us enough that we may be worthy of entrance into Jannah al-Firdaus. For even our beloved Prophet Muhammad والسلام, was known as Insan al-Kamil, the perfect man, said when he was asked about his righteous actions and the fact that he continued to do them, to the extent that he would stay sleepless nights in prayer, that his feet began to become swollen and sometimes even bled. Imagine standing that long in prayer, that your feet not only get swollen, but they begin to crack and bleed. Out of love and worship and gratitude to Allah. And when he was asked about this and the fact that he has been forgiven all his sins, he said, why do you engage? They asked him, why do you engage in such acts? Is it that you've done already so many good things that you'll be entitled to Jannah? And he said, with a stern face to his companions, إِلَّا بِرَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ, except by the mercy of Allah, even I, Muhammad, who is Maqam al-Mahmud by Allah, who is called the person who has reached the highest state that a human being can reach, even I am in need of the mercy of Allah, more than of the rest of us. And it is a fear. This thing we as Muslims know well. Fire and brimstone preaching, unfortunately, like many other religious traditions, has so much become a core part of our vocabulary and par for the course. The harams always outweigh the halals, although in reality everything is halal except those small exceptions which are haram. But we obsess about the negativity and not the positivity. But yes, we must be fearful also, because Allah is Shadid Iqab. And that is taqwa. That is the consciousness of taqwa. So Allah says, have this taqwa and look forward to what each and every one of you have said for your tomorrows. And have taqwa in Allah. Allah is well acquainted with all that you do. Our tomorrow has already came. Actually, it came a few days ago. What do I mean by that? We have entered into the 1439th year after Hijrah, after the migration of the Prophet Muhammad. We are in the first month, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us to witness a new year. And we are in the first month, the month of Muharram of the Islamic Hijri calendar. Let us take this opportunity, dear brothers and sisters, to honestly reflect over our past year's successes and yes, failures, and express our gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the countless blessings He has provided us. And let us make a sincere commitment to work to correct our mistakes, one by one, and our shortcomings, in our persons, in our character, in our relations with others. And let us pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's continued protection, peace, blessings, and grace in the year that is coming ahead. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Khutbah, إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منها 4 حرم ذلك الدين القيم فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم. And in the end of the verse he finishes, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Surah Al-Tawbah, chapter 9, verse 36, Allah says, the number of months in the sight of Allah is 12 in a year, so ordained by Him the day He created the heavens and the earth. Of them 4 are sacred. Ushkuru Hurum, that is Dhul-Qa'dah, Dhul-Hijjah, Muharram, and Rajab. We know it from the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ. So wrong not yourselves therein. And in the end of the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, but know that Allah is with those who have taqwa. Hijrah, dear brothers and sisters, migration, and the Hajj, the pilgrimage which recently some of our brothers and sisters from our communities and our families have returned, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have accepted it from them as Hajj Mabrur. And help us who have not yet made the Hajj to have not only the intention but the means through which we can do so in the coming year. But this idea of hijrah and migration dates back at least as far to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, our mutual spiritual forefather, Abina Ibrahim Hanif, the purified one. As related in the Holy Quran, what characterized his life more so than any other aspect, in terms of his walking within the world, his existence within the world, was وَقَالَ إِنِّي ذَاهِبٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. Lo, I am going unto my Lord who will guide me. It is a track. It is a path. It is a walking. It is a movement. Lo, I am going to my Lord who will guide me. And Allah guided Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam to be the patriarch of all the prophets. Make the correct intention is the message of Millata al-Medina Ibrahim Hanif. The methodology of Sayyidina Ibrahim's message, his modus operandi, if you will, is to make the correct intention, to take the steps and positive action no matter what others say. And you will be entitled to the guidance. You will receive the guidance. You will be guided aright. The essence of the manhaj of Sayyidina Ibrahim is just this, that you and I must strive and make every effort, for nothing comes without correct intention followed by hard work and determination. Now this idea of hijrah, the migration, because we are 1439 years since the migration of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the fledgling persecuted Muslim community from 13 years of persecution in Mecca to what was called then Yathrib, what would soon be called shortly after the Prophet's arrival, Medina to Nabi, the city of the Prophet. The link between hijrah, migration, and the verse that I quoted, which refers to the sacred months, which includes the month of Muharram, the beginning of the Islamic calendar and the Islamic Hijrah, New Year, is فَلَا تُظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ أَنفُسَكُمْ. And this is very relevant to our state and situation today. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ very marvelously, as he marvelously did many things, linked the idea of hijrah, of migration, and this idea of not wronging or causing harm to oneself and others in the following hadith. Al-Muslimu man salima al-Muslimuna min lisani wa yadihi. Wal-Muhajiru, he continued, man hajara ma naha Allahu anhu. A Muslim is the one who avoids harming other Muslims. And in another hadith, a Muslim is one who avoids harming human beings in general, or all creation, with his tongue or his hands, with her tongue or her hands. And a muhajir, an immigrant, is the one who gives up and abandons all what Allah has forbidden. In his tafsir, Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, relates, injustice during the 4 sacred months, which includes the month we are in, the month of Muharram, is worse and greater than injustice in any other months, though injustice in all months is wrong. The greatest example, and this is not his statement, this is my statement, example of this type of injustice in history, I believe, was the killing and the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, one of the 2 youth that was known as the youth of Jannah, and the beloved grandson of the Prophet, and his close family members in the fields of Karbala during the month of Muharram on the 10th day. And we remember them, and we remember the Prophet's family, and we honor them as we honor all of his companions and their memories of struggle for justice and their struggles against injustice and tyranny. In our thoughts, in our prayers, and in our deeds, inshallah. But Ibn Kathir continues, verily injustice is always wrong. But Allah makes things greater than others as He will, as this was the same in the teachings of all the previous prophets. Allah has chosen some of His creation above others, and He has chosen some messengers from both angels and men amongst others. And He chose His kalam, kalamullah, His speech above all speech, khayru kalam, kalamullah. And He chose the masajid and other places of worship as selections over other places of earth. And He has selected Ramadan and the sacred months above all months, and Friday above all other days, and Laylatul Qadr, the night of degree, above all nights. Therefore sanctify what Allah has sanctified. That is, dear brothers and sisters, make right in your life by what Allah has decreed and made halal and permissible. Make your right by those things. But that which is halal and that which is tayyib and that which is wholesome. For doing so is the practice of people understanding and comprehension. Ibn Kathir references an incident that took place on Hajj in his tafsir of this verse, his explanation of this verse. And he says that the Prophet said, among other things, behold, do not revert to misguidance after me by striking the necks of one another. We know, unfortunately, that this still occurs within different parts of the world, including in the Muslim world. Do not revert to misguidance after me by cutting the necks of one another. And therefore, those who try to hide under the cloak and the religious garb of Islam and to carry such heinous acts, whether against Muslim or non-Muslim, is something that we as Muslims, who are people of conscience and believers, have to disassociate ourselves with always. There is no room in our religion for those types of practices, for they have gone according to the Prophet on the path of misguidance. Dear brothers and sisters, Shaheed Sayyid Qutb, rahimahullah, in his Fi Dalal al-Quran, which is an amazing modern tafsir of the Holy Quran, observed regarding this verse, فَلَا تُظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ, do not wrong yourselves, means do not wrong yourselves by violating the sanctity of these months, which Allah has willed to be a period of peace and security for all. Whenever human beings, and this is important to think about, violate Allah's rules, they don't hurt Allah. We don't hurt Allah by violating His rules. He says they hurt themselves. They wrong themselves. Hence the verse says, do not wrong yourselves by disobeying Allah's rules. For those rules were not made for Allah, they were made for you and me, in order that we may live a beautiful and beneficial and wonderful life. By abandoning Allah's rules, we don't harm Allah. We harm ourselves. Hence the verse, do not harm yourselves by abandoning Allah's rules. And what is the nature of that punishment? He said, they violate Allah's rules, they actually expose themselves to Allah's punishment in the life to come. But what happens here and now? He continues, and in this life to fear and worry. Fear and worry. Think about that. When we violate Allah's rules, sometimes even thinking that we're trying to do right, we become nervous, we have fear, and we have worry. We don't have sakina. We don't have peace. We don't have qalb and salim. We don't have a contented heart. We're nervous about 101 million things. We are afraid of 101 million things. Anxiety and fear is what characterizes the modern man, and Muslims, dear brothers and sisters, we are victims of the same situation. But maybe it is because modern man seeks to make himself and others as gods instead of Allah and not follow the rules that have been provided for his benefit. Something we need to reflect upon. Do not wrong yourselves includes that we need to seek to live a life and a lifestyle which is in conformity, not in contradiction to the life that Islam, which is the religion of our nature as human beings, Deen al-Fitra, asks us to live. We are part of this earth, so we should live a natural life. That means a simpler life. The complexities of the modern world are not making human beings more rational, are not making human beings more loving and caring. They are making us more uptight. We need to go back to a simpler lifestyle. We don't need to complicate it more. It means simple eating, simple living, simple conversation, simple dress. Extravagance, complexities are part of the world we live in. We live in a multitasking world, yes, but we should seek to do at least some of those tasks well. And instead of doing many of them in such a poor way and not being satisfied because we can leave nothing. When we do everything, we end up doing nothing. Believe it or not, before the cell phone, people existed. Worlds where governments functioned, nations lived, people ate, they slept. There was an existence beyond having to be addicted to this device in my hand. Instead of thinking, maybe I don't need to answer that right now. Maybe I don't need to addict myself to it this moment. Maybe I need to reconnect to Allah so that I be able to have peace of mind and peace of heart. Dear brothers and sisters, wronging ourselves also includes engaging in practices which harm and poison ourselves, our bodies and our minds. Two of the immense gifts that Allah has given us as an amana, as a trust. Destroying our bodies and our minds. This includes, amongst other things, some engaging in starvation diets, in pursuit of unrealistic descriptions and depictions of the cover girls that they see that are anorexic on magazines. That's not the feminine ideal. You, dear sisters, as you are of the feminine ideal, don't let anybody tell you or show you different. Ruining ourselves includes involving ourselves in putting poisons in our body, like alcohol and drugs, which in Islam is not just forbidden. Fajtanibuhu. It's beyond haram, the scholars tell us. Don't even come near it. Mr. Alcohol and Mr. Marijuana are walking down one side of the street. You walk not on the other side of the street, on the other side of the town away from it. Don't come near that stuff. Brother Saffet, what are you talking to us about alcohol and drugs? We are Muslims in the house of Allah. because I'm a university chaplain at Drew University. And I'm tired of case after case of Muslims, and the other chaplains will tell you the same thing, that have to deal with case after case of alcohol and drug abuse among Muslim students. From our communities, from our masajid, 1 in 5 Muslim students at the universities in America, some of your own children, are using alcohol as social drinkers. Not as social drinkers, sorry, as binge drinkers. Nearly half, 1 out of 2 Muslim students at the university has tried alcohol or drugs and uses it from time to time. Now, we don't have statistics for the high school students, but I suspect it's not too far behind, especially with prescription drugs and opiates and marijuana usage. These are poisons to our body, and Allah says, don't wrong yourselves. Don't oppress yourselves. Don't tyrannize yourselves. You're tyrannizing the body that Allah has given you. And if you tyrannize your own self, there's no way you can be merciful and kind to others. There's no way. Because tyranny against oneself is exemplified by tyranny against others, and manifested by tyranny against others. Dear brothers and sisters, remember often that those who are the first and the loudest to deny and reject such problems exist within our ummah, often are the ones who suffer from those very problems themselves. We, dear brothers and sisters, need to admit to ourselves these somber realities as we enter this new year and make a change. For Allah says in the Holy Quran, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Something my father taught me and my sisters since we were children. Allah does not change the condition and the state of a people unless they change that which lies within themselves. Their attitudes, their understandings, their outlooks. We need to change that which lies within ourselves so that we may be changed in terms of our situation. Dear brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us and increase us in our understanding of His faith and our ability during this month of migration, hijrah, to migrate. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us and grant us the ability to realize that in a nutshell, hijrah refers to abandoning or leaving out something, bodily or physically, by tongue or by heart. And that from a Shari'i religious perspective, hijrah refers to the abandoning of bad attitudes and sinful deeds which corrupt the pure nature, the fitrah of human beings, for Islam is Deenul Fitrah, the religion of nature and natural inclination. When we make hijrah, dear brothers and sisters, we deliberately and intentionally let go and move on and change not only our geographic place, but our state of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual mind, and our associated habits, hopefully for the better. Alhamdulillah الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله وعسر فاهجر. Allah says in Surah Al-Mudaththir, the command to the Prophet, but it's a command to all of us. And migrate, or from all abomination, all sins, migrate. Hijrah, migrate. The Prophet ﷺ was asked to say on one occasion, قال رجل يا رسول الله أي الهجرة أفضل? O Prophet of Allah, which migration, which immigration is best? The Prophet answered, and tahjur ma kariha rabbuka azza wa jalla. He said, the immigration which is best is to leave that which your Lord dislikes. In this new year, dear brothers and sisters, as a sunnatul hasanah, and this is a good practice, let us make a resolution to ourselves, a promise, a pledge, one that is both pragmatic and within the parameters of the Sharia of Islam's teachings, and write it down. A small deed that is consistent, remember, is one that is large and done regularly than one that is large and is done only once. Let us make a sincere intention and a resolution to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a little bit better than we're worshiping Him now. And that means a worship that is tied to that which is outside of what we normally think of as worship. Inna salati tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Salah for Allah, after Salah, becomes a way in which we do not harm or cause harm to others. We don't engage in wrongdoing after the Salah. If I backbite, and I lie, and I steal, and I cheat, and I plagiarize, and the list goes on, and I abuse my wife, and I abuse my children, verbally or physically, then, dear brothers and sisters, my Salah is not a Salah which was Miraj al-Mu'min, which is a journey to Allah, and communion with Allah. Because it has not prevented me from doing wrong outside Salah. I need to make it right. We need to make our intention to do something good with regard to neighbors and friends. Neighbors and friends are standing up for Muslims during this time of tremendous challenge in America. Are we standing up with them? Are we standing up with them? And I know the president tells us over and over again about different programs and activities. The ISCJ blasts go out. The Facebook events are posted. Are we with them? Because we're going to pretty soon find out that if we're not standing with them when they stand on principles of justice and truth, then it's going to come a day very soon when they will not stand with us. And the little blue passport that you have that thinks you protects you because you think you're considered an American because of it, I speak of the U.S. citizenship, is not going to prevent you from the harm that is going to come. The Prophet ﷺ informs us of a story of two angels who came to destroy a town of wicked people. And they returned to Allah and they said, we found two people praying amongst them. Allah instructs the angels, go back and destroy that town beginning with those two people. Because they never had the dignity to go out and to tell their neighbors, listen, we're with you. We want to help you against the wrongs that are happening to you and to me. And by the way, this thing, what you're doing is wrong. Let's try to find a way to make it better, to make it right. At a bare minimum, that means if you're eligible to vote, to register to vote. And then to vote. That's the bare minimum as citizens of this nation. And to vote those people who will champion your causes and not write legislation that's going to force your children and your grandchildren, who you brought to America, who you made a decision that they're going to be an American. You took that decision. They didn't. As parents, it's your responsibility. You didn't consult them. You made the decision. You have to take the responsibility. And that means to protect them in every way that you can, including through the legislation and those who are supposed to represent all Americans. Dear brothers and sisters, make a resolution to do these things. Finally, a word about Muharram. Muharram is a chance to increase doing good deeds. We should get more rewards. We get more rewards for doing those good deeds and preventing from doing bad things. But especially the 10th of Muharram, Ashura, which is coming next Saturday, a week from this Saturday, is a time that the Prophet ﷺ said we should fast. It was the first hard fast of the Muslim Ummah. It was a day in the history of all the prophets, or many of the prophets, in which an important event, a critical, transformative event took place. Amongst them, for example, Musa and his people were freed from Pharaoh. Pharaoh was drowned in the seas. But other prophets also had things that happened during the day of Ashura. It's a time that the Prophet ﷺ says that when Ramadan came in and after the second year of Hijrah, he said, Ramadan now replaces the hard fast, the fast of Ashura, but you should continue the fast of Ashura because he said, it is a way of wiping out the sins of the previous year. Dear brothers and sisters, let us bow our heads and open our hearts in prayer. Let us pray for the freedom against all oppression and tyranny, both in ourselves, amongst others, and abroad. Let us pray for the ability for those who are oppressed around the world to realize the freedom from their oppression, and let us be vehicles and means to assist them in that. Specifically, Ya Allah, we ask that you help our brothers and sisters, the Rohingya Muslims of Burma, who are being subjected to genocide as you speak, and that you grant us the means and the ability to provide humanitarian assistance and political support for their struggle. Let us pray, dear brothers and sisters, for those who are sick and afflicted amongst us, those whom we know and those whom we don't know, for a speedy and complete recovery as if they had no sickness before, including my father and my father-in-law, Abdurrahim Riyad, who are recovering from different types of sicknesses, including our aunt of our dear brother Faraz Khan, Ustaz Faraz Khan, who many of you know as a co-chair of Green Muslims of New Jersey and one of our young Muslim intellectuals and scholars. His aunt is Sarwar Muhammad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to successfully overcome any obstacles and challenges that exist within our lives, within our families, within our communities, within our homes. May He reconcile between father and son. May He reconcile between husband and wife. May He allow us to reconcile between children and parents. May He reconcile between brother and sister and brother, between friend and friend. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to meet all the challenges in our life through that which is halal and permissible, to avoid all that which is haram. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا. ان الله يأمر بالعدل والاحسان وايتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون ولذكر الله اكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون واقيموا الصلاه